Jason, I think we should part ways. Why? Why would you say that? It's hard for me, always being asked when we're going to have kids. I was deeply shocked when my beloved wife suggested divorce. But maybe it's understandable that Kimberly feels this way. My name is Jason. I'm a 37-year-old married man. My family has run a tailor shop for generations, and as the eldest son, it was agreed that I would take over. Currently, I'm in charge of a branch, gaining experience and working as the manager. I took great pride in the long-standing brand and history of our tailor shop and constantly pushed myself to be a worthy successor. Kimberly was always there, supporting me. Thank you for shopping with us. We look forward to seeing you again. Kimberly maintained her dignity and cheerful customer service and sent her guests on their way. Seeing her work so efficiently in her elegant dress always received high praise from our clients. Thanks to Kimberly working alongside me, my branch attracted many customers. Hey, that customer earlier bought a whole dress set. Your recommendations must have been spot on, Kimberly. Well, if our customers are going to wear our dresses, we should make sure they get ones that suit them best, right? Saying this, Kimberly gave me a refreshing smile. Working together like this, I often thought how glad I was to have married her. This year marks our 4th anniversary, and our relationship is still going strong. However, to be honest, my parents weren't thrilled about me marrying Kimberly. Oh, what on earth did you choose 31-year-old Kimberly as your bride? With our families standing, you could have had so many suitable arranged dates. When I decided to marry Kimberly, my mom dramatically sighed and said that to me. Before I met Kimberly, I had no experience in dating women, and people around me were worried about me. Out of concern, my parents often suggested arranged dates, but I just wasn't interested. I believed that one should marry not based on family background or conditions, but someone they truly love. Although I lacked experience in relationships, I wanted to choose my life partner on my own and make her happy. I want to choose my life partner and make them happy. Back in the day, I met Kimberly at a traditional dress workshop. Kimberly, with her charming smile, gracefully dressed a mannequin. Turns out, Kimberly had learned how to wear traditional dresses during her training. Being shy, I didn't want to miss this chance and approached Kimberly right away. After dating for a year, we get married. For me, the fact that Kimberly could wear a traditional dress was impressive, but my parents seemed to think differently. Isn't Kimberly just of average background and in her 30s? Do you really think she can bear our air? Yes, Jason. Why did you choose her? Even if you have kids, she'll be over 35 at her first childbirth. I have so many concerns. They complained a lot about this to me. But their thinking was quite old-fashioned. Kimberly was a calm and refined lady who elegantly wore traditional dresses. And aren't there many women these days who give birth in their 30s? Despite my parents' objections, I decided to have a wedding with the woman I loved, Kimberly. On that day, Kimberly looked truly beautiful in her pure white dress and bright red lipstick. I had a feeling I'd never forget this wonderful day as I solemnly sipped from the ceremonial cups. Even after 4 years of marriage, we don't have children, but I never saw it as a big issue. We were about to start fertility treatments soon, and I was determined to stay positive. Currently, we don't live with my parents, and I tried to keep Kimberly away from family stress. I wanted to protect her in my own way. But one day, Kimberly, with a sad look, suddenly said to me, "Jason, let's break up." Panicking, I asked, "Why?" With a downcast face, Kimberly calmly expressed her feelings. "I'm tired of constantly being asked about when we're having children. You shouldn't care about what others say. We're about to start fertility treatments, and we can go at our own pace. I'm sorry, I can't take it anymore. I guess I wasn't meant to marry into a good family. Please, let's separate." Interrupting me, Kimberly pleaded with tears in her eyes. If this was Kimberly's wish, then I suppose I had to accept it. The idea of my beloved wife wanting a divorce deeply shocked me. But maybe it was inevitable. Kimberly is serious-minded, and perhaps she felt more pressure than me to meet my parents' expectations. I believed I was considering Kimberly's feelings, but in the end, I was only satisfying myself. I didn't realize that Kimberly had been pushed to this extent until today. I felt like the worst husband ever. All right, let's get a divorce. So, we began to prepare for our divorce. Since we both agreed, everything proceeded smoothly without any issues. My parents were thrilled about the divorce. "Jason, well done. We'll arrange a good match for you soon." Kimberly got what she deserved. She was out of her league marrying our Jason. "Hey, don't say anything bad about Kimberly." I raised my voice, and my parents visibly flinched, falling silent. Even though we were planning to part ways, I couldn't bear her being insulted like this. No matter if they're family, I can't forgive it. This divorce wasn't Kimberly's fault. I felt heavily that it was on me. So, Kimberly had finished packing, ready to move out at any moment. The divorce papers were ready, and after our final dinner together, we planned to submit them to the city office. Yes, just after our last dinner together tonight. I'll be heading to the hair salon before our dinner, and might be a bit late getting to the restaurant. I'm sorry. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I responded calmly, going about my work for the day. From tomorrow, Kimberly wouldn't be at this branch. I bet the clients will really miss her. But what's decided is decided, and there's nothing to be done. Hiding my mounting sense of emptiness, I finished my work, changed into my suit, and headed to the upscale French restaurant where Kimberly and I were meeting. This restaurant was a renowned place, frequently featured in magazines and highly rated. Surely, we could make a wonderful memory there. But deep down, I truly didn't want to part ways. I thought of expressing my feelings to Kimberly one last time. Once seated, I ordered some wine first. When Kimberly would arrive, I thought we'd drink together. However, the agreed time passed, and there was no sign of Kimberly. I began to worry, sending her a message. Perhaps something had happened to her. However, all I got back was a terse message saying, "I can't make it after all." Reading this, I felt like I'd been stood up. This was unexpected. To be honest, it was a letdown. Does Kimberly really dislike me that much? Since I'd just been sitting at the table without ordering anything other than wine, I could feel the glances from other customers and waitstaff. It was probably obvious to everyone around that I'd been stood up. Darn it. Suddenly feeling reckless, I kept ordering more wine. I thought that by drinking a lot, I could drown out my sorrows. But truthfully, this only made me feel more empty. Staring into my wine glass, pondering my pathetic state, someone suddenly spoke to me. "Excuse me, are you Kimberly's husband by any chance?" When I looked up, there was a couple about my age. From their vibes, I guessed they were likely married. The man was bald, and the woman had an elegant air about her. I unconsciously sensed a familiar vibe from these two. But the fact that they know about Kimberly. Who exactly are this couple? Yes, I am Kimberly's husband. Have we met somewhere before? When I asked, the bald man opened his mouth. Apologies for not introducing myself earlier. My name is Bob. I serve as the assistant pastor at St. Andrew's Church. Hearing the name St. Andrew's, my eyes widened. That church was one of the largest in this region. The structure itself was grand, and it was a historically renowned church with a large congregation, famous for its prestige. Given its history, it's probably under the same kind of scrutiny from the public as our family-owned clothing store. It was probably because of this background that I somehow sensed the same atmosphere in these two people as I did. Both are feudal and particular worlds in today's society. The elegant lady in the dress, looking straight at me, began to speak unexpectedly. "Isn't your wife with you today? Kimberly really helped me out. Thanks to Kimberly's advice, I have built a happy home with my husband." Not fully grasping her words, I responded, but then, she dropped a bombshell. 5 years ago, distressed about not being able to have a child, I was on the verge of jumping off a bridge. That's when Kimberly, who happened to be passing by, talked me out of it. Tears welled up in her eyes as she shared her past. She must have been truly desperate back then. The weight of the expectation was probably suffocating her. Kimberly probably felt the same way. The realization made my heart ache for Kimberly. Kimberly desperately tried to stop me, and showing me a photo of you on her cell phone, spoke passionately. "I'm not exactly well regarded by my fiancé's parents, probably because of my age, but even so, he chose me. Honestly, I'm worried about whether I can live up to his parents' ideal of a wife, but I believe I'll never meet anyone I love more than him, and I don't think I'll find anyone who values me more than he does. No matter the challenges, I want to overcome them together." Tears welled up uncontrollably from my eyes as I heard these words from the lady. I was so touched to realize Kimberly felt this way about someone as unworthy as me. Beside me, her husband spoke up. "We're truly grateful to Kimberly. Currently, we've adopted a child and are living happily as a family of 3. We've faced many challenges, but we've overcome them because she's been by my side." It's true, with love, people can overcome any difficulty. Hearing their words, I was determined once again. I didn't care what others said anymore. Throughout this long journey of life, I was certain that Kimberly was the only one for me. If Kimberly still had any feelings left for me, I'd protect her with all I've got. That was my firm decision. No, I should be thanking you. Thanks to both of you, I've had a wake-up call. Let's meet again sometime. I quickly scribbled down my contact info and handed it to them, paid the bill, and left the diner in a hurry. Outside, it was pouring rain, and taxis were bustling about. Initially, I thought of catching a taxi, but they were all occupied. I need to get to Kimberly as soon as possible. Driven by this thought, I ran through the rain. Drenched in my suit, I probably looked out of place to passers-by. But I couldn't care less about that. I had to reach Kimberly as soon as possible. I was certain Kimberly must have also decided to divorce me with great concern. After running for about 20 minutes, I arrived at Central Park. This park was a special place for us. We had our first date here. Gasping for breath, I looked around and searched for Kimberly. I had this intuition that she'd be here. And sure enough, my intuition was spot on. Kimberly stood there, soaked to the bone. "Kimberly." I called out her name and dashed towards her. She turned to me with a startled expression. Her eyes were swollen and red, making it obvious she had been crying. "You shouldn't be getting so wet. It's okay. After all, I can't have children." Tears streamed down Kimberly's face as she said this. She had apparently been to a gynecologist for a checkup before infertility treatments. The diagnosis was that her chances of conceiving were nearly impossible. Her distress reminded me of the wife I'd met earlier. "I truly love you, Jason. That's why I don't want to upset you. Maybe you should find someone more suitable for the family business. No one but you is right for me." I probably spoke louder than intended, catching both of us by surprise. But it was the truth. "If you don't want to upset me, never leave me. Forget about family business and heirs. No matter what, I'll always protect you. There's no one else for me but you, Jason." As the rain continued to pour, we held each other tightly. Even though we were exposed to the cold, warmth radiated from where we touched. At that moment, we truly understood each other. I was determined never to let go of Kimberly again. So we decided not to get divorced and to start over as a married couple. Our parents complained, but we didn't care. The next head of the family will be me. Everyone will follow my way. If anyone has a problem with that, I don't mind stepping down from my inheritance. What? That would be a problem, Jason. At my words, both my dad and mom looked panicked. Sure, the current head is my father, but he's clueless about IT stuff. The success of our clothing store is largely due to me. My dad probably doesn't want to lose his successor now. But I wasn't bluffing. If they interfered with my relationship with Kimberly any further, I was ready to cut ties with the family. Fortunately, we had some savings. Kimberly and I know a lot about clothes, so we'd get by. That night, I resolved never to let go of Kimberly again. After that, following the example of Bob and his wife, we adopted a child and began raising him. Our son's name is David, a 3-year-old boy. Kimberly truly loved David with all her heart. Daddy. At first, David was quite shy, but lately, he's been sticking close to me. Oh, David, did you have fun at daycare today? Yeah. Tomorrow's a day off, so let's go to the park, just the 3 of us. Yeah. My parents have started to dote on David recently, and it seems that all the family troubles are heading towards a happy resolution. From now on, I want to keep a certain distance from my parents and cherish Kimberly and David above all else. I'm so happy, Kimberly said with a big smile. We'll overcome any challenges together and share our joys. Watching us, David will surely grow up to be a kind man,